Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. It's your girl, Sonia McQueen with It's Your Life. What are you doing with it? I have an amazing interview today. I promised you guys more interviews, and there's no other way for me to come out the gates but swinging hard um, and just bringing this love interview to you today. De'Aires,
Yes, ma'am.
am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, you are, dear.
I am so excited. I told you when I spoke to you on the phone, this is an exciting moment for me. Um, and I honestly don't remember what I said I was going to ask you. I told you I'm like that. I'm a little scatterbrained. So if you don't mind, we're just going to let it flow for a second.
Sure. I'd like to, say thank you for, having me on and giving me this opportunity to, voice, what I went through in my journey to recovery.
Absolutely. How old are you?
I'm 36.
You're 36. Okay. And there are a couple of things I do want to speak to you about. I can't forget, I want to speak to you about your coloring book and your book. But I want to start off by telling me, just give me a little background before your accident, what you were doing, pre-accident. What were you doing with yourself?
So, so I just graduated college, uh, almost a year to the day of my accident. Um, I graduated college at Life University in Atlanta, Georgia. And after that, I actually moved down where you're at now, Miami, for a while.
Mhm.
And then I came on home back here to Wichita, Kansas. And, a newly grad, you're still trying to figure it out, So I was working, full time and, I had all these, you know, big dreams and amazing things that, I wanted to do. And um, I just, got a little put on the back burner as far as, having to deal with everything that I went through. So,
Understood. And for the listening audience, if I pronounce anything wrong, just correct me. I don't get in my feelings, but you're now a quadriplegic.
yes.
Okay, can you just tell the audience what happened?
So, if I could just tell like the full story
You can
of
tell whatever you want to tell.
okay of what happened, and then sometimes I'll maybe pivot and then give a little backstory on what I'm speaking about. But um, the summer of July 2013, I was at an after hours gathering, and it was upwards to maybe uh, over 100 people there. It was a big crowd, and a lot of people know here in Wichita, big crowds usually uh, don't go so well here.
Mm,
And it was crazy because I was there with some friends of mine, and my cousin was there, and I remember everyone was having a good time, and I turned to him and I said, "Can you believe all these people are here and there's no problems?" And as soon as I said that, gunshots rang out, and I got in a running position, which later I found out is the worst thing you could do if you hear gunshots. The best thing to do is just get all the way down flat to the ground.
right.
Um, Needless to say, I was struck in my back. The bullet traveled in a straight line and exited out of my neck.
Mm,
Um, Five people were shot that night. Uh, Me and another person were the most critical. And so they took us to the nearest hospital. which was St. Francis here in Wichita. And he had two doctors working on him, and I had two doctors working on me. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. And those two doctors that were working on him, they actually came over, and I had four doctors working on me to save my life. Um, I wasn't in good shape. They actually called the chaplain
Mm.
and told my family to get my affairs in order because it was highly unlikely that I would make it through the night. Um,
Let
I
me
was in a
ask you a
coma.
question. Let me, before you go, was the shooting coming from inside the party, the people who were there, or was it like somebody outside of the 100+ group?
So it was someone outside.
Mm,
Uh, I I really don't get into the logistics of who or why it happened.
mm-hmm,
Uh, I kind of have this mindset of like forgive and forget.
mm,
It's it's the easiest way to to get past all the trauma.
mm,
So yeah, so you know uh I was bleeding on the ground for almost like 30 minutes before the ambulance even arrived. And so I had so much blood that they really didn't know um, how many times I was shot or if I had internal bleeding. So, they actually opened my chest all the way up, and yeah, it was surreal. I remember I woke up out of a medical induced coma, and my mom was sitting right there next to me, and I looked over to her, and I had this tube in my neck because the bullet had clipped my right lung and it came out my neck. So I wasn't breathing on my own. I was actually on a ventilator. So I had this trach tube inside my neck, so I couldn't speak verbally. But I remember looking at my mom, and I kind of mouthed to her, like what happened, because I couldn't even really remember what had
mm,
happened. And she said, "Son, you were shot." And I'm looking at her, and I'm laying in this hospital, and I'm just like, I couldn't believe, what she was telling me. And so I remember I mouthed to her like, well, how long am I gonna be like this? And it still chokes me up today. She started crying, and she said, "Son, it's gonna be a long journey."
mm.
And I just remember putting my head back, and the tears just started rolling. And yeah, so that was the beginning of this long and, arduous journey that I've been on. And a lot of things really went how they were supposed to for me to survive. I mean, even if I could backpedal a little bit before I was shot. I was working at this place. It was called Furniture on Consignment, and I'm 26 years old. I think I was strong as an ox. And my manager was like, fill out these insurance papers, and I was just like, no, Kid Mac, I don't need any insurance.
Mm.
And a month went by, and he called me in the office, and it's a funny story because I actually thought I was in trouble. He called me on the intercom and said, "De'Aires, had come to the office, and so I went in there, and he said, "Sit down." So I sat down, and he's like, "Sign these papers." I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "It's your insurance. Sign the freaking papers." And I'm saying that nicely, yeah. And so I signed those papers, and I got shot a month later after signing those papers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so thank God I had insurance. It you know it really helped me out a lot, and I have to give kudos to Furniture on Consignment, the owner Jay Story, because he actually let me keep my premium through this whole process. So
Oh
you know,
wow.
yeah. So I mean, I still had to pay the premium, but I got to keep my insurance. You know.
Wow. Look at that blessing. When you were telling the first part of this story, you said you looked over at your mom and you couldn't speak because you had a tube in your neck. How long were you unable to speak?
So for 7.5 years, I was on a ventilator, and I couldn't speak. It was you kind of get used to making noises. I used to do this noise with my lips, or to get people's attention. And me and my family, we still do that sometimes and laugh at each other, because we're able to do that now, and you know, I'd have to, try to enunciate, but no words would come out. So I was literally, mouthing it. And I tell you what, you try to tell a joke and people can't hear you. After the third time, it's not funny no more. Yeah, so that was another blessing, to be able to get off the trach. Um, the doctors actually told me I would never get off the ventilator,
Mm.
um, because of where the bullet had exited my neck. There's a major nerve in there. It's called the phrenic nerve, and it actually controls your diaphragm. And with me only having one lung, and my phrenic nerve being damaged, uh, I couldn't really breathe on my own. But I didn't let that detour me from seeking out other professionals. And we did tons of tests, and every test came back negative. My nerve wasn't working, and I couldn't get off. And believe it or not, Sonia, one day I got really frustrated, and I just took that tube off. And I kid you not, it was literally almost like an hour went by, and I was breathing. And that was the first day that I knew that I was going to get off that train.
You took it out all by yourself? You just took
I,
it out?
I took it out all by myself. So it's like the ventilator is connected to this tube that is implanted in your neck. And you can't cough. And we all have secretions that
That's
we
right.
we cough out.
That's right.
And so with that ventilator, you're unable to cough because you have a balloon that's blown up inside a cup. So you have to get suction. And I remember how scared I used to be because I I couldn't call the nurse when I was first in the hospital, and I could barely move my arms, so I couldn't even hit the button, and I literally could not breathe, and until they would come and suction me, and
Mm.
oh man, it was frightening. Yeah.
I I heard about you through one of my closest friends, and as soon as she told me about you, she said, "So I'm going to ask him, is it okay for you to interview him for your show?" I was like, "Please let him say yes. Please let him say yes." So I was so thrilled when you said yes, but you said something really profound a moment ago. You said, when I asked you, did the shooting come from inside or outside the party? You said outside, but I really don't get into that because I choose to forgive and forget. That is such a strong phrase for me because I talk quite often about forgiving and how hard it is for us to forgive. And then I'll say things like, I'm learning to forgive people. I'm learning to forgive people. But for you to say that, I really want the listeners to understand how just godly that is, how that is the way we're supposed to live. But it is so hard for some of us. Um, and we can hear your story, and the things we won't forgive are so minute. They're so tiny, they're
Yeah, for
so
sure.
small, and we want to hold these grudges and be mad at people and not talk to people and wish them harm or whatever. And here it is, some stranger shooting wildly, you get hit, you can't speak for 7.5 years. You're in the hospital. You're quadriplegic. And you said, I choose to forgive.
Yeah, you really can't start healing until you forgive.
Mm,
I think that's really the first step into your healing process.
thank
Because if you don't, it'll just eat you alive. Yeah, that was something, at first it was hard for me. Everyone goes through their stages of grieving. Um, you get mad and you get angry and you wonder why me, and you get sad and you get depressed. But once you make up your mind to forgive and to start living again, that's when the road to recovery really begins.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's when the recovery begins, when you choose to forgive. So profound. And you were so young, 26. I guess I didn't put the numbers together quick enough in my head until you said 2013. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just had my 10-year anniversary, July 13, 2013. 2023. So, yep, I just had my 10-year anniversary. That's not even half of the story, Sonia. You know, I was just, I was pretty much just dying here in
Mm,
Wichita, in that hospital room. And they told me, you need to get out of this hospital room and you need to go to a rehabilitation center. You need to start rehabbing. You can't just, you know, just went away here. And the closest one, the closest spinal cord injury rehabilitation center to Wichita is in Nebraska. But me and my mom, which she, I gotta give thanks to my mom, she literally has stopped everything in her life to take care of me.
mm.
And such a strong woman. I'm talking about staying in the hospital with me, sleeping there. She was a big part, and my whole family and my friends were a big part, of this journey I've been on. But we didn't know anyone in Nebraska, and and we asked, like, where are some other places? And they said there is a really good one. It's actually the number one spinal cord rehabilitation center in the United States, and it's called the Shepherd Center, and they're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we have family, my aunt and my two cousins, and they live down in Atlanta. And so we knew that was the spot for us to go. The problem was I have this wound back on my chest. My chest is open. I have this ventilator in my throat, with the trach. And how are we gonna get down there? And when I say things aligned for me, I mean they really did. My mom, her best friend, my Aunt Tanya, she actually worked for a company called Flight Safety, and they do all the medical transport um, via flight. And my job had actually raised $2,500, and then the owners matched that, so I had $5,000, and it cost $10,000 to fly to Atlanta.
Mm.
And we just didn't have the money. And my aunt told her job, and they said, "Give us the 5,000, and we'll match that 5,000, and we'll send him to Atlanta."
Look at God.
Yeah, it was. It brings tears to my eyes today to talk about this. Just because of all the amazing things that happened and all the amazing people, that were there for me. And you know, Sonia, when I was here in the hospital, uh, they wouldn't allow me to eat or drink orally. I had a feeding tube, and um, we laugh about this too because I just wanted water so bad, and every time someone come in my room, as soon as my mom would leave, I'm like, "Give me some water," and no one would give me water. And I used to get so angry. I was like, "Why will they not give me water?" Well, the thing is, if you have a trach, they're scared you're going to aspirate. And we had did all the tests here, um, the swallowing test, with the grapefruit juice, and they follow it and see where it goes. And every time I did that test, I failed. And
Mm.
that first day when I got to Atlanta, um, within 2 hours they gave me something to drink. And that next day I was eating.
Oh,
It
wow.
was it was the first, positive thing, that I overcame, that really brought joy to me.
Oh, wow. But that doesn't even end it. You have so much positivity seeping out of you, just positive things you're doing and creating and manifesting. And I don't know if this is going to be a one-time interview. There's so much I have to say, and
I'm
I only have
sorry, I'm
40
talking.
minutes. I only have 40 minutes, so I want to go into some of the greatness I know about, and that would be Rolling Pals and Super Willie. Please tell us about that.
Yes.
Those.
So uh I've been in the bed for the last 9 months. Since December 22nd, I've been battling a pretty bad pressure sore that has went away and came back, and I've just been battling it all year. And I'm stuck in the bed, and I just, for me, I gotta keep doing things, and I wanted to do something. I've always wanted to do something for kids who are in a wheelchair like me, because I just don't think that there's enough stuff out there for them. And so I came up with this cool idea to put fun little animals, uh, in their own habitat, but every single one of them are in wheelchairs. And I created the Roland Powell's coloring book for them. And Super Willie followed. It's about uh, not just one person, but a lot of people that are Super Willie, who are heroes in my eyes, who are in wheelchairs, that continue to do, amazing things. And it's a kids rhyming book, short story kids rhyming book, but it just talks about how even though you're in a wheelchair, you still can be a hero.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys have got to go to Amazon. You have to go to Amazon. You have to go to Amazon and look up Super Willie and Rolling Pals. And if you don't remember that, remember this, because as we're speaking, I had already ordered one set of both, but I'm ordering two more sets right now. It's under Ray Peterson. Ray
Yes, my full name is actually De'Aires Ray Peterson, and so I chose the pseudonym of Ray Peterson to be
Yes,
my
so
author.
and you can see this very handsome young man on this page right here with this nice smile when you go. So, um, what else are you working on? If anything you're allowed to share, I don't want you to break any privileged information.
Yeah. So there's one project that I've been working on for uh the last year, and so I'm a quadriplegic, but I can move my arms, but I can't move my fingers. So I use this strap um to eat with, and so I I didn't really like the design of it, and so I've been partnering with a company out of Miami called Lime Design, and we've been creating a new eating strap. I call it the Swiss Army eating strap because it doesn't just fit forks or spoons. You could actually put a toothbrush or a pin or a back scratcher. You put more than just you know eating utensils in there. So
Mm.
that's what I've been working on for the last year. It's almost done. I anticipate that it will probably be ready for sale at the end of this year.
I I was telling you when I had the pleasure of speaking with you the other day that it's really my life goal. I've said to my listeners plenty of times, I've never, ever, ever prayed to be rich or how can I get a lot of money. I've always prayed to help people. How can I help people? So yeah, I actually decided at the beginning of this year to not work for anybody. I wanted to start a nonprofit to help the needy, the hurting, the homeless, whatever. So it is up my alley, but I see so many people. What I really see you doing is giving a voice to the hurting because people will they'll become stagnant. Something happens and they will not budge. They think that life is over and they are just so negative, and you are definitely not that person. And I see you giving a positive voice to people and make them wake up and look at life for what it's worth, and what it is. And it's a blessing. Every second of every day is a blessing. You laugh
Yes,
so lightly. You laugh so lightly. And I told Paula the other day when I got phone with you, I said, girl, I cried through half of that conversation. I said, I don't even think he knew I was crying. I said, but I cried. I said, he's such a positive, just a ray of sunshine. And because this is my second time hearing most of your story, I didn't hear most of that. I didn't cry today, y'all, but to hear it for the first time, I was floored and I was astounded and I was proud, all rolled up at the same time. And uh,
Thank, thank you.
it's just amazing. You're doing things. You got the coloring book, you got the book. You're trying to do more. You're creating stuff, and
I just want to give back, like, and if I could, pivot on what you said, I also want to give a voice. I want people to know that there is still life after, your accident, and no matter, how bad it is, people out there are still doing some amazing stuff,
amen,
and all you have to do is believe. All you have to do.
amen. Amen. I seen I'm not really good with social media. I'll try to post something, but I'm not the type of person to go look at posts. So I'm trying to purposely look at posts, for at least 10 minutes a day. But there was one today, and it's amazing. This lady, her name's B. Thomas, I believe, Beatrice. She posted for parents to have a talk with their kids that let them know that there are all kinds of other kids. You have some that have disabilities, some that have, physical disabilities, mental disabilities, whatever it is. Talk to your kids so that they know how to love everybody and
Right,
not
right,
base their love or their friendship off of how you look, you
for
know,
sure.
and I loved that
Well,
post.
to be honest with you, the coloring book was for people like me, but it also was for kids who don't have disabilities, to introduce them in a friendly manner, to people with disabilities. So I love that post. I think she was definitely, onto something with that one, because, a lot of kids, they don't know, and eh, it's kind of hard having that conversation with kids, and so that's why I thought a coloring book with animals in a wheelchair would be, a friendly way of introducing them to someone that was not quite like them.
I absolutely love it. I know that's one thing I did right. I raised my kids to be, um, everybody is, you see them from the inside out. You see hearts before you see a look or before you see anything else. Before you see anything else, you see somebody's heart and you love people for just simply being people.
Right,
And they are exactly like me when it comes to that. They only see love. They don't care who you are, if you have this disability or that disability. If your heart's right, they love you, and that's all they see is love. So I'm proud of that. But I do know I worked in a school for a couple of years in special education. So absolutely know kids can be cruel to other
oh yeah,
kids.
oh
So
yeah,
every parent listening to this, just please take a moment and talk to your kids just about all inclusivity and love and
yes,
acceptance and just treating people like people and not paying attention to the other things. And if they have friends who are silly kids, because kids are kids, so I'm not going to call them
right,
anything but silly and immature, kids are kids. You know, they don't have to follow that. It's actually kind of easy sometimes when you have a friend who's a bully or mean to change them, because once you out somebody's personality, they're embarrassed and they quickly often want to change that behavior. Is there anything else you want to share before I give a final word?
um I just want everyone out there to respect others, and
Amen.
and to always be the best person that they can be, uh, no matter where they are or who they're around. So
I am second and thirding that, you guys. And I say that actually often. And it's also a reason I do some of the things I do. I remember back in 2003 seeing somebody mistreating somebody just because they were homeless. And that's probably what really catapulted my buying things for the homeless and keeping, bringing water in my car and snacks and, giving them out. And when I lived in Virginia, giving out blankets and socks. And I do all that out of my own pocket. I do not like to see people stared at. I don't like to see people mistreated. I just have always hated things like that. But I am so proud of you.
Well,
Oh,
I have to praise you as well because the things that you've just told me about, eh, it's not easy, doing those things or going out of your way when you have, your own life, uh, to attend to. But what you're doing is amazing, and just giving people a voice, it really does help, So I gotta praise you. So thank you for all that
man.
you're doing, and I appreciate
Didn't I already tell you I haven't cried? Don't make me. Don't make me. Thank you so much.
it.
I just want to love people just where they stand, just where they stand. So I told you I have all kinds of friends. I was telling you I have a friend. Well, one friend, she had both of her legs amputated, and another friend, some a guy, tried to take her away from us, and she had both her legs and arms cut off. But both of them, they will give you hell. And I love them both dearly. Actually, one I've lost contact with, but the other one, they drive, they eat whatever. So, and they were my friends. So I
People
did
are resilient, you the number one thing I really get a lot
are
is that
resilient.
is that if I was in your situation, I don't think I could handle it. And I
Mhm.
think you never know what you can handle when your back's against the wall. I was like,
Absolutely.
I'm sure you would do the same thing I'm doing, So I try to give people credit when I can. So
And I absolutely know I would do the same thing your mama's doing. Your kids, boy.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I
You
have two
give up
kids
everything for
myself.
your kids.
Yeah, I have a 20-year-old son, Colin, and an 18-year-old daughter, Angiata, and a
Oh,
new grandbaby, 3 months tomorrow. So
oh
yeah,
wow.
I am Papa. So
Well, I know the grandbaby is amazing because the grandbaby's a Virgo. So that's all I gotta say about it. And I am gonna end this. I already know I'm gonna be asking for another interview, but I loved it
sure,
when you said
anytime. Go ahead. I'm
people
sorry.
are resilient. And yes, you never know what God will never put more on you than you can bear. And don't take things as a step back, take it as a step up to help other people, a step up to learn, a step up just to be a better version of yourself.
Yes.
Um, just love people for who they are, where they stand, where they are, the same way you want to be loved. I
Right.
appreciate you so much, De'Aires, and I promise you, I'll probably have you back in a couple of weeks.
So yeah, anytime you need me, I'm here. I still got tons of stories to tell you, and I can't wait. And I appreciate you having me on.